Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is September 18th, 2020, and this is the Flight Sim News. So, the guys over at 1C Game Studios have released a pretty decent update for the Great Battle series. Looks like they are up to version 4.501. They go on to say its shifted version number means it's a kind of milestone, and it really is. First, the research we did on the community option of the aircraft spotting allowed us to make many improvements to this important part of the sim. The distant LOD scaling system has been adjusted, their lighting has been made full, atmospheric haze option and increased MSAA level has been added. We're sure this update will make the online multiplayer experience totally different from how it was before. Now our next target for the next update is the improved Pilot G tolerance model we do after asking the community, taking the account the new reference data provided by community members. So this goes back to a video I had posted in the Flight Sim News that Jason Williams was putting out there, spotting in 4K. That is pretty cool. So in addition, in this update, outside of I believe the 36 different fixes, improvements, and additions made by the update, is the addition of the Wind of Fury campaign by Alexander Black 6 Timoshkov. And this is free for those who have Bodenplatte. And it says this means that our promises on what Bodenplatte will include are finally fulfilled. Of course, it doesn't mean we'll stop improving it. For instance, now we plan to improve the Rhineland career mode. So that is awesome news. Also, the P-39L-1 Air Cobra from the Battle of Kuban and the BF-109G6 now have 4K quality external texturing created by Martin ICDP Catney. And of course, there's a bunch of new improvements and fixes for tank crew. Here's the list in general, and it's pretty long. There's about 36 things in all that this update encompasses. I will throw a link to this in the video description as usual, and you can check it out for yourself. And one of the other ones that really stood out to me was the MSAA ×8 option has been added, but please note this level of AA is very demanding to the graphics card performance, and I have a feeling they added that because they knew the 3000 series was launching this week. Next up, in other IL2 related news, I found this over on the Steam community page. So it looks like patch number 5.006 is live for Desert Wings TOBRUK. The changelog includes BF-109F's textures have been updated, Wellington textures have been updated, manuals have been updated. They corrected all BF-109F's elevator tailplane trim range, corrected all marlets to remove bomb load and racks, fixed call sign out of bounds exception, and crash dumps now contain the game version. I'll throw a link to this in the video description as usual so you can check it out for yourself, but if you have it, it should be just as simple as updating it through the launcher. Next up is a video from vsTerminus, or vsTerminus, and this is a playthrough of the first mission in the Crew Part 1 campaign by Stone Sky.
Hey guys, welcome to The Crew Part 1. This is a campaign that was released recently for the HIP that purports itself to be rather difficult. Supposedly we'll be flying in all kinds of different weather and different conditions, different altitudes, and it will require knowledge of different avionics and navigation, emergency procedures, and all of that good stuff. So I picked it up and figured, well, it might be fun to bring you guys along and try the campaign out. The situation here reads, this is mission 1. The Second World War took the lives of more than 26 million citizens of the Soviet Union. Nearly 5 million people are still missing. They are not alive, and they are not among the dead. 15th of July, 2008. Nalchik.
Short version is they conquered a station and then occupied the floor running again. When the Red Army liberated Nalchik.
You know, I've been practicing my precision landings. They're not good enough to land on a building like that. I would probably land right in front of it. Just kind of the way things have been going.
Hey, this guy flies as good as I do.
Just bring ourselves in nice and slow. And now this is where not retrimming throughout that flight has been handy. And just a little more, just a little more. I can't see anymore. Or nope, I need to back up.
Boy, this is a nail biter here. I would have wrecked by now.
Try that one more time. I went too far.
So overall, this is about an hour and 13 minutes long. So it's a rather long mission. And if you have the Mi-8, it looks pretty damn challenging. Very good video overall. I'll throw a link to this in the video description as usual, and you can check it out for yourself. Alright, here's the latest quick video from good friend of the channel, Iain Christie.
Afternoon, YouTube. Sidekick here in my trusty Israeli A4 Skyhawk, but we're not flying a mission today. Just doing a little bit of a test. I wanted to show you just exactly what we're up against with the SAM network here in the Golan Heights. So I put together this little test mission using countermeasures or using ECM had on the results, but the fact of the matter is none of that had any effect at all. So we're just going to do one run. You can see that we were already well into having missiles tracking us. And in fact, there's the first launch. You can see it off over to the right. And that's at around just a little bit shy of 40 seconds from the start of the run. So we still got the missile closing from the right. And there's another launch just to the right of center.
Doesn't look too good for Iain.
That first launch, I think, is an SA-6. I launched from a long ways away. The second one, I think, is an SA-3. There's a third one.
There's a third one.
Still haven't seen the first missile yet. It must be getting close. There it is. And both of those arrived at the same time. Looks like about a minute and 22 seconds. Okay, the second site has fired a second missile. Third site whiffs.
Whoosh.
Meanwhile, we got 3 different launches coming from the left, including one far back.
The funny part is, if that was me, the first one would have hit me. That's just exactly how it goes in DCS for me every time I give it a shot. As always, it's another entertaining video from Iain. I'll throw a link to this in the video description as usual, and you can check it out for yourself. Alright, next up is they've put up a FAQ, or FAQ, for DCS A-10C II tank killer. They go on to talk about it a little bit. This is a paid update to the existing A-10C Warthog to add new system features and fixes to usher in another 10 years of the most advanced simulation of the A-10C on the market. First question, how much will it be? The full version of the A-10C II will be $79.99 USD, and the upgrade price will be just $9.99 USD for a limited time. After 1 month from release, the A-10C II upgrade price will increase to $19.99. That is fantastic news. That means if you own the A-10 already, you're only going to pay $10 for the upgrade if you get it early on. Fair enough. Nothing to complain about there. And then they go on to talk about, I already own the A-10. do I need to buy this? And then they basically go on to say, no, if you don't want to buy the upgrade, it will not be required. You already see the benefits of the improved 3D cockpit model and textures, as well as other fixes to the A-10C. You will not have access to the new features and systems that come with the upgrade. Will the A-10C II, an upgrade option, be available on Steam? Yes, we plan for both. Now, when they say, yes, we plan for both, that makes me kind of believe that it's probably not going to be ready for prime time on Steam, because Steam is usually a slower process. I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I read into that. Next up, why do I have to pay for this? Shouldn't it be free? Many of the fixes and updates will be across our entire A10 family. This can include the upgrade, the original A10C, and in some cases the A10A. These fixes will be made and added free of charge. The paid version is for weapons and systems that required extra research, development, and implementation to add. Fair enough. So if you own the A10C or the A10A, some of the fixes and improvements and upgrade stuff that they've been doing to make the A10 better is going to happen in a beta update or eventually in a stable update. What you're not going to get is all the extras, and they're going to talk about that next. What happens to my original A10C if I buy the upgrade? It will still be available to use as you remember it today, with the addition of fixes, of course. You will still be able to use all the content and such you had before. You simply have another module called the A-10C II in the game to use. So the cool part is they'll be separate. So if you had missions or campaigns that were purchased previously for the old A-10C, then they should be just fine with the original A-10. What new features are going to come with the upgrade? So the AGM-65L Laser Maverick, the GBU-54 Laser JDAM, the APKWS, you know what? I don't know what that is. Updated weathered cockpit textures, updated and improved external model, helmet-mounted queuing system, updated HOTAS commands, ARC-210 radio, not at the initial early access release, they say, updated 3D cockpit to remove TISL panel, new mission content, and adjusted flight dynamics. And this is a feature that in parentheses says available to the original A-10C as well. Will there be missions for the DCS A-10C II tank killer? Yes, we have a mix of new and updated missions for the A-10C II. Will my paid campaigns work with the new module? And they go on to say this will be up to content creators if they choose to update their campaigns to the new module. Otherwise, they will work as normal, meaning with the original A10, because they're both going to be side by side if you get the A10C II. And then, of course, you know, there's a couple things in there that, of course, they had to add because of the people that bring out the pitchforks. Why are you doing this? Shouldn't you be working on the Hornet, Viper, and other core issues? And they go on to say the DCS A-10C Warthog is an important module to DCS world. Keeping it updated and relevant is very important to us and our users. The project is only being worked on by a few devs that were instrumental in the original A-10C. It has not affected any other project or core issues being addressed. Where is my warning horn gone? From valued feedback of a real-life A-10C pilot and huge DCS World fan, we have determined that the horn was never operating as it should. It should only sound during tests or during activation of the gear handle. All other emergencies are shown by the master caution light, no horn. So I guess they're removing that. And then lastly, it goes on to say, what about missing thrust? I guess there was a large discussion online about the flight model. Well, as above, the same valued feedback was given, and we determined that there were no issues with thrust, but issues with when wing stall and buffet was experienced. We have now tuned this, and the A-10C is performing much better than it ever has. These changes should be seen across all A-10s in the game. And then it says, see the note from WAGS right here. And that goes on where WAGS talks about, dear all, based on the feedback from legitimate SMEs and verifiable data, we have updated the flight dynamics. Buffet and wing rock no longer set in right at chopped tone. You can now retain nose authority at initial chop tone. However, if you were to continue to increase angle of attack while in chopped tone, you eventually get buffet, wing rock, and stall. Available G before chop tone was increased by 1G. As such, if you encountered chop tone at 2G, it will now manifest at 3G under the same condition. Together, we and the SMEs believe the A-10C will fly in a more realistic manner with improved performance. So, that is fantastic news. So the great thing is that all of the A-10s are going to see the improvements of the flight model, and you don't have to buy the update if you don't want to. You're just not going to get the cool new weapons and some of the system improvements they're adding, but your original A-10A and your A-10C, not the 2 version, will benefit from the flight model improvements and some of the other improvements they've made to the sim. I'll throw a link to these in the video description as usual, and you can check them out for yourself. So the other piece of A-10 news is that BigNewy made a post on the Eagle Dynamics forum stating that it's not going to be in the 23rd open beta, but there's a chance that it may be released on the 30th if all goes well. That's fantastic news. And at $10, I think I'm going to buy it. I can't see why not, you know. For $10, why not? I look forward to a helmet mounting queuing system and some of the other new updates that the A-10C II is going to bring. Try saying that really fast. I don't know how many times I said A-10C instead of A-10C II. It really gets tough, man. So last up is WAGS is added again with the Viper, this time in a video called AGM-88C HARM in HAS mode.
Hey everyone, WAGS here from Eagle Dynamics. In a future DCS World update, we'll be adding the high-speed anti-radiation missile, or HARM, for the F-16. This missile homes in on the radar emissions of air defense radars and is an important tool in suppression of enemy air defenses, or SEAD role. He was forward short and Magnum. That's why it's a good idea to have the HSD to give you a better situational awareness where that SAM site is, as well as your raw gear, of course.
Now, this one's about 10 minutes and 55 seconds long. I'll throw a link to this in the video description as usual, and you can check it out for yourself. So, it's shaping up to have been a pretty good week so far. I'd imagine since I'm putting this out on a Friday, they'll come out with their news update, which of course will have some other interesting news, but I have a feeling in their weekend update they're going to, come up with a release date for the A-10C II and probably show us a couple more images of it. That's my forecast, at least, for what they're going to do. I'm probably wrong. If anything, there might be some more Mi-24 shots as well, which would be equally as cool. But that's it for the Flight Sim News. So as always, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Feel free to hit the like button. And until next time, guys.